Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we're going to be talking about one of the more unique knives so far in 2023, and it happens to be a rather big front flipper. And what we have here is none other than the Kaiser Kobold 2.0. Now, before I go any further into this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now, let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length coming in at 8.19 inches, a blade length coming in at 3.66 inches, and a blade thickness at your standard 120 thousandths. Blade material on this guy is 154 cm, and we have a very nice, unique-looking Wharncliffe blade with a flat grind, a handle length coming in at 4.53 inches, and a handle thickness of a rather thick 600 thousandths, and it's contoured at that. So some really good things going on with this handle. Handle material is micarta, and we have a liner lock locking mechanism with a user of technically a right hand only in terms of clip setup, but I got some good news coming for you lefties, so stay tuned. We have a weight coming in at 4.06 ounces, designed by Sebastian Irawan, or Irawan. To be totally honest, I have not heard much about Sebastian, but if this is a good example of his work, I want to see more, because as you'll see in this review, I'm a pretty big fan of this knife. And we have a price coming in at $89. Now let's see just how this big knife stacks up with some other very popular EDC knives. We'll start off with a couple other popular budgets. We'll throw some Civivis up here. We have the Civivi Conspirator, as well as my personal favorite, real budget knife, the Civivi Brazen. This has been one of my favorites for quite a while, as has the Conspirator, and I'm afraid these two are going to have to make room for this guy too, because it's I think it's going to be joining the party. But as you can see, very nice size comparison there with those two. And let's pull a couple other out here. Let's pull out a little more of a premium piece here from Spyderco. Here's the Shaman, and I think the Shaman is also, yeah, very good comparison with the Shaman, as well as one other Kaiser. This is the Kaiser Escort, and as you can see, with the Escort comes up a little shorter than the rest, but some really good size comparisons. And one thing that the Shaman and Kobold 2.0 have in common is some ergos that are pretty darn good. But before we get into the handle, let's talk a little more about this blade, because it is a blade worth bragging about. There's some really good things going on here. First off, the edge. We have an edge coming in at 16 thousandths behind the edge. Very nice and slicey with that nice Wharncliffe style tip. That's going to be a really, really nice EDC blade. Very aggressive, slicey tip, and just a little bit of belly to go with it. I really am a huge fan of modified Wharncliffes, and that's really what I consider this, is a little more on the modified side, because it's got that belly to it. And when I think of a regular general Wharncliffe, I think of, like, razor straight edge with, a little bit of a point. This is definitely a bit more on the modified side, but I am a very, very big fan of it. I think it would fit great into anyone's EDC rotation, as long as you're comfortable with those bigger, 3.5 to 4 inch blades at 3.66 inches. You have some really good sharpened length to work with. In terms of aesthetics, I think the blade just looks fantastic as well, especially when you pair it with the handle. The handle kind of stays its nice, same thickness throughout, and then the blade really kind of slenders down, and you have some lines and angles up there. Just looks really, really good. I do have one little gripe on the fit and finish of this particular blade. As you guys know, everyone can be a little different, especially when you're talking budget knives. But I see a little bit of unfinishing up here around the milled out area. Now, it's nothing that I feel like it's all very, very smooth, like it's completely milled out. I think when they were just finishing it, this could have used a little more stone wash up here. As you can see, you see a little bit of the milling leftover. I think that's what that is. But nonetheless, I think maybe just a few more minutes in the tumbler to get the stone wash on the rest of the blade. Maybe something else to kind of get in here, but kind of a minor gripe. It's not the end of the world for me, because at the end of the day, when you're just holding it in, like, in your hand and you're looking at it, it's still really good. You got to get up real close and nitpick at that. So not a huge gripe, but again, you know, transparency is what I want to bring to you guys. Transparency and that close eye for detail. So got to bring that stuff up in these reviews. Another thing that would have really perfected this blade is a little more aggressive jimping towards the ends of the front flipper up here. Now, the actual jimping itself is decent. It's pretty good. The problem is, as you can see, what they did was they really chamfered the sides, and I totally understand, I get why they did it. Kaiser's not the only company to do it. I've seen this done plenty of other places, but I really wish they wouldn't have done that, because especially on a front flipper like this, where it's got kind of got a bigger forehead area of where the actual front flipping point is, I would have really liked to have a little more bite, just a little more grip and bite on the end of the jimping on the sides here, because I can still front flip it pretty easily. I mean, this is definitely not a hard knife to front flip by any stretch of the imagination. It can be easily done, but if it had that little extra bit of bite, boy, I could really just effortlessly just pop it out. Doesn't quite have that little bit of extra more tackiness and bite on the sides of the jimping. Would have really been perfect. As is, still really good, but it could have been great. Now, going into the ergos and handle on this knife, first off, feel in hand. It is phenomenal. I really mean that. Two of the best ergos on any budget knife this year so far have been from Kaiser, and that's this Kobold 2.0 as well as the Kaiser Mad Tanto. Both of them have phenomenal ergos, but in different ways. The Mad Tanto was a little thinner on the thinner side. It was about the same width, but considerably thinner. The 600 thousandths in terms of thickness really does do a great job at filling the hand. Love how this feels in the hand. If I had to pick one between the Mad Tanto and this Kobold 2.0, I would go the Kobold 2.0 because I like that bit of a hand-filling feel. Not quite what the Mad Tanto had. You could still argue that it was really just as hand-filling as this one, but in a different way, just the way it kind of sat in your hand. I really like how the lines really kind of just guide your hand into the grip on this piece here. Choked up is very nice. You got plenty of room in that choil up there. You don't feel crowded or jammed up, but you could also move back and really just kind of grab the end of the handle here. Still full forefinger, and just a very, very nice choked back grip as well. So two phenomenal grip areas. Both of them feel just as good as the other, in my opinion. And when you get into this handle, first of all, the micarta is absolutely phenomenal. It is so good in terms of appearance and the texture and the grain and the grip. All of that is good. Even the milling up here, where they've kind of milled out some little, just some little lines for aesthetics, basically. They did a very, very good job of doing that. It's very clean milling, as well as down here by the liner lock. Very clean, good job. Nothing frayed and all mashed up. It's already patinaing in, very, very nice. It just looks so good. And I've had a couple knives over the past, I want to say probably 4 months from Kaiser, to where the micarta was good, but it wasn't as good as it should be for Kaiser. Like, they set a high standard for having some of the best micarta, and they're back at it with this, because this really is phenomenal. And when you go to the back here, you have this little back spacer that's also very clean, looks very good, no flaws, nothing nasty coming out of it, and a very nice little lanyard area there that's really small and hidden. I really love that lanyard area, and I really like the whole design back here. It's just good, it's clean, and very well executed. You got your standard Kaiser clip that is pretty good to go. Now, I wouldn't say standard, this is really a little newer. This hasn't been around for a long time, but it's a slightly bigger clip that Kaiser's went with. And I do like it. It works great. Has a little bit of most of the height is right here, and it kind of gets a little flatter down towards the bottom of the clip. But feels good in hand, no hot spots, works great. Just an excellent handle. And when you get into this liner lock here, which is very easy to get to, and break that blade, you get into some action that is downright buttery and drop shutty. Yeah, that does kind of rhyme, buttery and drop shutty. You could make a video with that in this knife. Let me tell you, the action on this is just excellent. No issues with the action whatsoever. As a matter of fact, the action is so buttery smooth and excellent, it really makes me wish there would have been that little more aggressive jimping on the sides of this front flipper, because it would have really made this action just epic, like absolutely epic. And it's still so good as is. Like, I'm still very happy, very pleased with the overall action. It's reach around approved. You can easily middle finger flick it. And lefties, I know you're probably pretty pissed off that the clip is not reversible, but let me tell you this, if it makes you feel any better, the middle finger flick is just as good for a lefty as a righty on this knife, if not actually a little nicer, and let me show you why. On this side, where the righties would be middle finger flicking, you have the line, or the actual micarta scale going all the way up to the blade opening, but on the side the lefty would be flipping it on, they have a little more exposure there, and that really does make a difference. It makes it very easy. As you can see, I have very little to no nail there. Very, very easy middle finger flick for a lefty. And I actually write with my left hand, but I 100% carry knives with my right hand all the time. Left-handed knives feel very awkward to me, but to middle finger flick this, it's very, very easy. So really good job there. But yeah, lefties or righties, middle finger flicking is good to go. You can even do the thumb flick, which is very surprising. Man, so smooth, so smooth. This knife overall is absolutely great. It's a few changes away from being absolutely phenomenal, but as is, I really can't knock it too much. I think maybe the little air we have, the little fit and finishing air up here by the blade cutout, that really could just be this blade or one small batch. I'm willing to bet with Kaiser's QC that that's probably been caught and addressed. I don't know for sure, don't quote me on that. But that's not something I see very often with Kaiser, so I will mention it for this knife, but I wouldn't expect that to be the norm for the entire run. But the only thing that would really, from top to bottom, make this perfect for me is just that little bit of improved jimping on the sides there. That's really all I ask for. Other than that, this knife really is pretty much a home run for me. 89 bucks, no problem there whatsoever. This is one damn good big knife. It's also making my Knife of the Year awards very hard for this year. I'm pretty sure that 2023 is going to be the hardest year to date for the Wayne Sharp World Knife of the Year awards. And if you guys know what that's about, you know there's a lot of detail and a lot of knives that factor into that. If you haven't seen any of my Knife of the Year awards, search it, Wayne Sharp World Knife of the Year awards. You'll pull up, I think I have 2 or 3 years now. Time's getting way ahead of me. I've lost track, but I've got some from previous years. This is going to be a really good year, and a year of so many good budget knives. The Kobold 2.0 right now is definitely one of them, and it's actually towards the top of the best. Not at the very top, but it's somewhere mixed in towards the top. So let me know what you guys think of this, the Kaiser Kobold 2.0. Let me know what you think so far for the year of budget knives. I personally am thoroughly impressed. I really hope you guys are, but let me know. Really hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.